Hey guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today I am doing Comic Uno episode 61, and this is a show I review all the comics I read this week in one show, and I have 11 comics this week, so let's get started. I go worst pick of the week to best pick of the week. What was worst pick of the week? Number 11 was the Multiversity issue 1. Yeah, this is my worst pick of the week. I know a lot of people like Multiversity, but Grant Morrison's definitely acquired taste. And I've liked his stuff in the past. There's some stuff I have liked from him, but there's a lot of things I haven't at the same time. I felt with Multiversity, I was very excited for it. I mean, was I thinking, yeah, Grant Morrison, I wasn't really thinking of his name. I was really excited for the concept in general. All these worlds coming together for one equal purpose. I like that idea, but the way they did it here, it was very meta and convoluted. Meta in a way just because I like the idea of how it was meta, because Grant Morrison picked out how people read comics and put it in the story and put regular comics in the story, putting his action comics in the story, and also saying other universes read other universes comics, which is really weird. So some comics that are in one universe actually is real life in another universe. So I thought that was interesting. Like, again, very meta stuff, which was interesting. But the story in general, which I think is the most important part, there's too much going on, and I think Grant Morrison concentrated too much on let me be meta, let me be out there, than the story itself, where I want to care about these characters, and there are so many characters I couldn't care. I just thought there's way too much going on with Multiversity, and it makes me hesitant to buy the second issue. I don't know if I will. I want to, because I want to see where it goes, but I don't know where it's going. Most of it is about this issue, this unknown issue that people are not allowed to read, and I just don't get that. I mean, honestly, I just thought it was very out there. I don't know the true purpose of why they're coming together. You know, they described it, but I don't think there's really a main reason why they're coming together. There's like 10,000 characters in this issue. The art's pretty good, but I just think it was way too out there for me. So I'm going to give this 2 stars. I just didn't love it. Alright, number 10 is Future's End, issue 16. Of course it's Future's End. With this issue, I do think it went back a step. A lot of this issue, I just didn't think a lot happened. We get to see a lot of characters I personally don't care about do nothing, pretty much. There's only like 2 things that happen in this issue, the thing I did like was the Superman thing. Like, we're getting closer to revealing his identity, which hopefully will happen in the next issue. We get to see, with the last part, that Brainiac's behind the things with Frankenstein, like these robots things have to do with Brainiac, which was interesting, but sometimes Brainiac could go out there also. Sometimes the stories aren't the best. So, yeah, those are the 2 big things, and everything else is just like 2-page stories of nothing happening. We have, like, Slade and Lana Lang talking to the little girl pretending to be a family. We have that. We have Mr. Terrific trying to get his technology back and people not to use his technology. But there are just so many small things I just didn't care about. The art's pretty consistent, but the story itself, there's just not a lot that happens here that I personally cared about. So I'm going to give it 2 stars. I think next issue looks a little bit better from the preview we get from the back of the issue, but we'll have to see what happens. I just didn't love this issue. So that was number 10. I give it 2 stars. Number 9 is Batman Eternal, issue 20. Not a bad issue. Now we're getting to, like, yeah, these are the better issues of the week. Batman Eternal, it's not bad. It wasn't great, though. With this, we get to see 3 main stories. 1, Commissioner Gordon. He's kind of still being a hero in a way, and trying to get his good name for himself in the jail cell. That's what he's doing. And I do like Batgirl's story the most, even though I feel that she had the least amount. But the reason I liked it, because it actually has to do with Batman Eternal. She's trying to clear the name of her father, and she kind of does so, and that gets a step closer to clearing her father's name. So that story actually has some things going on in it. And with Batman, I felt the Batman story, it just didn't feel in place for Batman Eternal. It was a good story, don't get me wrong. All pretty much 3 of these. Even though Commissioner Gordon, I didn't love his story. The other 2, I pretty much like all of them. But with Batman, I feel like he's actually the filler part of this issue, which Batman should never be the filler part of his own weekly series. I just feel that they did the Killer Croc story to, of course, get Detective Ward and Batman to have a relationship with each other in some way. But did you need Killer Croc? Does that have to do with Batman Eternal? Not really. That kind of fell out of place for me, but the best part that actually got this issue to 3 stars for me was the last part, which was Stephanie finally being in an issue and her becoming Spoiler. And I loved her narration about it, how she wants to spoil her father's plans. Love her costume. It's very a combination of her Spoiler costume and her Batgirl costume from the pre-New 52, so love that. Yeah, I really like that we get to see some more spoilers, so that was a really big plus for this issue. Art-wise, it's a little dark, the art. This is pretty sure the same artist we've been seeing for a couple issues now. Very dark. I think they could lighten up on the shading. This would actually be a lot better, the artwork. I understand they want to make it dark, but it's a little bit too dark for me. And I would say unnecessary shading for this issue. But overall, I thought it was an okay issue. I'm going to give it 3 stars. There's some stuff that I don't think was needed for Batman Eternal, but overall, I like the story. So I'm going to give it 3 stars, and very much looking forward to seeing where Stephanie Brown goes with Batman Eternal. I think we're up to number 8. Alright, number 8 is Nova, issue 20. Not a bad issue. Again, we're really getting to issues that really weren't that bad this week. This is over 3 stars, 3.5 star book. I like Nova. This is, I think, one of the weaker original Sin stories, though, because I did read Daredevil the same week, which, of course, is a little spoiler that it's higher up than Nova, but I did read Daredevil, and they both kind of felt the same with the original Sin tie-ins, because they kind of are misleaded with their vision, because with Nova, we see that Nova thought his father was a villain because this guy misled him to think his father was a villain. His father's still alive, but he's pretty much fighting for his life. And I think that was an interesting part. I like that the father's not a villain, because I think the father will be more of a main character as they do meet up, Sam Alexander and his father. But I thought it was a little bit too easy. Like, oh no, he's a villain. Oh, that was actually not, that was just like a weird twist. We're gonna cop out, he's not actually a villain. So the true original Sin story was that his father was a villain, and that copped out because his father wasn't a villain, so it was more a misunderstanding of his vision. But I did have a fun time with this issue. I like the Rocket team up with Nova, but it's not as good as him going back to Earth with his family and also having the space adventures. I think that those are always the best issues, where they balance both. That's what I loved about this series. That's what made me really enjoy this series the most and enjoy Sam Alexander, was that balance of groundingness and cosmic world. So to be stuck in the cosmic world for so long, it makes me miss Earth for Sam Alexander. But it seems like with the next issue, he will be going back to Earth and hopefully dealing with those stories a little bit more, because I think that's where Sam Alexander shines the most. So overall, I like the issue. There's some cop-outs here and there. It's not the best issue I read this week, but I did like it, and I really like the Rocket Raccoon and Nova interaction. And the art's pretty good too. I've seen better for the series, but it's pretty good. Especially Rocket Raccoon. I actually really like the art style they used for him in this issue. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars, and that was number 8 on the list. Up to number 7, right? Yeah. Number 7 is Robyn Hood Ongoing, issue 1, which I did an advanced review a couple of weeks ago for the title, and we actually had a live show with the creators of Robyn Hood, which you definitely guys should check it out. I liked Robyn Hood, but what I do with the rating system for my books usually depends on the week, the rating. I did give Robyn Hood a 4, but I feel like that was more standalone. Compared to the issues that did come out this week, I did lower to a 3.5. Not saying it was a bad issue, it's just, you know. I feel like the ending with the priest was a little less interesting, but I love where Robyn Hood's going. I love the direction it's going. I especially like the detective side of everything. I think that's a really great direction they're going with Robyn Hood, making her a detective. It seems like we're going to get more characters in this group. Marion's really integrating to Earth very well. So overall, I think the main story arc of them going to the priest wasn't so interesting, but the artwork and the direction the series is going, I'm really intrigued by, and I love where the characters are going. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. I enjoyed this issue a lot, and I'm looking forward to the next issue. Alright, so now we're up to number 6, which is Teen Titans issue 2. I actually did like this issue a lot. With Teen Titans, it's very conflicting for me because I think the series is not bad. I like it. The artwork's actually really good. I think it fits the series really well. So here's an example of that. Artwork is something that really bumped up Teen Titans over Robin Hood. I like the artwork for Robin Hood, but Teen Titans artwork is just such an improvement from what we've been getting. So I do like the coloring of the Teen Titans artwork. So that's why I did bump up Teen Titans a little bit more. It's just such an improvement from what we've been getting. So that's why I did bump it up a little for Teen Titans. But I like the story a lot. I like how Bunker interacts with Beast Boy in this issue. There's some intriguing stories with this Wonder Girl crew coming up and how they balance the media in this series. There's this positive media for the Teen Titans, and now that they're out there, how do people depict them? Some people want to be heroes. It's really interesting how they're doing the media part of this Teen Titans series. I think the weaker part is probably the villain, which is the Star Lab. These people that want to go get Star Lab, we don't really know why. They're trying to kidnap these children or blow up a school bus, so like why are they trying to do these things? I think they really need to give some villain motive to make us care about the villains a little bit more and get to know them a little more. But really, I thought this was a stronger issue. It's not my Teen Titans. It's still not. I'm still very upset with Wonder Girl. We don't even get to see her that much. Wonder Girl definitely was one of my favorite characters of the pre-New 52. And to see her like this in New 52, it does get me a little upset. Honestly, we hardly even saw Wonder Girl this issue, so I don't know what direction they're going. But it seems like they're trying to fix a couple of things. Something I actually forgot to mention in my in-depth review is that we get to see probably Cassie's mother. Because Cassie's on television, they're talking about these Wonder Girl people that want to be like Wonder Girl, and she's like, oh, my baby. And I think that's, the mother, and that's bringing Cassie a little closer to who she is. I don't know if they showed the mother in the previous series. I did not read all the previous New 52 Teen Titans because I did not like it. I had to stay away from it as a Teen Titans fan. As I said, this has been an improvement for Teen Titans, but I really like that mother suggestion because it brings us closer to who Cassie was previously. So hopefully she'll be less angry, just like Supergirl, one of my other favorite characters from the pre-New 52, and she was angry. So let's get these characters less angry because they were never angry previously. So we'll see where that goes, but I liked it, and let's see where it goes. I don't know if I'll stay on my pull list, but it's definitely staying on my pull list longer than that previous series. I think it's an improvement. So sorry for the long discussion of Teen Titans, but I did like it. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Alright, so now we're up to number 5. Let's take a sip of water for some suspense. Alright, number 5 is Daredevil, issue 7. Another, weaker Original Sin story, just because I think Daredevil is actually better without the Original Sin story, because they're going to Wakanda. Daredevil goes to Wakanda and tries to save his mother. That's pretty much what it is. If you're a Black Panther fan, then you'll probably like this a lot. We're looking into that world and how the sister is now taken over as president in a way of Wakanda. So I guess that's pretty interesting. I'm not a big Wakanda fan, so to see that, I was like, oh, okay, I just want to see more of the mother and Daredevil. And I like that they explain the Original Sin Vision that the father, Matt Murdock's father, is actually not a bad guy. Just the Vision kind of showed something differently, just like the Nova thing did, which is a little bit of a cop-out, but I like that idea that the mother probably will be in the series a little bit more. The father is not a bad person, but the mother had depression, that's why she did leave. I'm not going to spoil a lot of it, but it was interesting how they did it. The artwork's really good for the series. So overall, I like the ending. I like that the mother probably will be a little bit more in the series, but I didn't love the Wakanda stuff. It was a little bit of a cop-out. I'd rather have a different story arc than this, but it's interesting. It was an interesting story, and overall, I give it 3.5 stars. And looking forward to seeing where Daredevil goes. Of course, I just think the other stories are a little bit more interesting with Foggy than learning about this. I think this tie-in was a little bit weaker than the tie-ins we've been getting. So 3.5 stars for me, and that's number 5. Alright, so now we're up to number 4, which is Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman, issue 1. Fun, solid issue. Really enjoyed this one. Sorry, one of them's out of place. Okay. Yeah, really enjoyed this issue because we got to see Wonder Woman in 2 different lights with these stories. First of all, Gail Simone writes Wonder Woman in this, which I love, and it's pre-New 52 Wonder Woman, which is even better. We get to see Oracle, we get to see Wonder Woman, that's just fun in itself, and we get to see a pre-New 52 Gotham, which I had a really fun time with, because as a Bat Family fan for a really long time, I really enjoyed that portion of the story. And going back to it, these 2 stories are seeing the physical side of Wonder Woman and the mental side. How Wonder Woman is different from Batman and how she would handle Gotham's villains. And I loved how they depict that. Artwork for both series are both stories are very good. The second story is physically, more of a physical story and just an epic fight with one of her villains. And we also get to see a cool child story where she gives her lasso of truth to this kid. So, you know, there's definitely a lot of great moments with Wonder Woman. Definitely a more old school Wonder Woman. So, overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. I thought it was really solid. I like both stories a lot. And if you're looking for, more old school Wonder Woman, read this issue. It's really good. They've done it before with Superman and Batman. Now they're doing it with Wonder Woman, getting other writers to tackle the character, especially Gail Simone, because we all love Gail Simone on Wonder Woman. And yeah, I liked it. So I'm gonna give this issue 4 stars. So that was number 4, right? Yes. So now we're up to number 3, which is Grimm Fairy Tales, issue 101. I really enjoyed this issue. As a new reader to Grimm Fairy Tales, I thought this was a really good new reader story because we get to see Sella, who's the main character. She's bringing these realm knights, these new realm knights together with her daughter being one of them. Now, I wish they could explain a little bit more about the realm knights just because I don't know how these kids were picked to be realm knights. That was a little confusing, but I do like the new characters. I feel like all these characters are going to be very likable, and I love the twist the most. The artwork's also very good for this series. I do like the artwork, but I love the twist because there's this character called Ali, and I'm like, oh, cool, Ali, and I didn't really expect anything from it. Even being a Disney fan, I was just like, oh, okay, his name's Ali. And by the end of the issue, spoiler alert, so this is a big spoiler, we get to see that he has a lamp. And he has a genie come out, and obviously this genie is a lot darker than the Disney version. And I was like, oh my god, Prince Ali, Aladdin, and you make that connection, and especially if you're a Once Upon a Time fan. We all have been waiting for Aladdin to come on that show, and Grimm Fairy Tales is kind of very similar to that show. So if you want a different depiction of Aladdin, read Grimm Fairy Tales, because that's the direction it's going in, and love that. So I love the twist. I gave that 4 stars. Very new reader friendly, great artwork, and looking forward to see where the series goes. So what was number 2? Elektra, issue 5. I've been loving this series. As you can see, very close to being my pick of the week. I really like Elektra. I know this is kind of acquired taste series, but the artwork for this series and the fighting for the series is brilliant. I want to show you a good page of that. Right here. This is a great page of the artwork. And again, this artwork's not going to fit everything, but it fits Elektra so well. And the narration is great for the series. I think the flow of it's great. You can really hear Elektra's voice. And most of it is narration, but I think it's just done really brilliant, really in a brilliant way. For this issue, we get to see that the story that's been going on with, I'm trying to think of his name, Cape Crow. Elektra's supposed to save Cape Crow, but he was actually going to kill Cape Crow, but then as an assassin, she's like, my mission is actually to save this person, and I see my father's face because the whole time she's been following the son of Cape Crow. So we also learned that the son of Cape Crow was giving her all these images of her father, but she's like, you know what, I see my father a little bit too much in Cape Crow because I see myself in his son, so I'm not going to kill you. And we know that there's going to be a lot of threats because she didn't kill them. And also we have an epilogue of Lady Bullseye saying, hey, I'm just going to go kill Elektra. So we know Lady Bullseye is going to be a very interesting story with Elektra. But overall, I really like the story. I love the narration. I love the direction the series is going in. And it's just a very unique series. Great artwork, great dialogue, and really looking forward to seeing where Elektra goes. So if you're not reading Elektra, I think it's a really unique book, and I've been liking it. I've been trying to showcase it, so definitely read Elektra. I've been really enjoying this one. That's number 2 on my list. Number 1 is Ms. Marvel, issue 7. Definitely the best issue I read this week. I've been loving this series, Ms. Marvel. If you guys haven't been reading this series, it's such a fun series. With this, you get to see Wolverine and Ms. Marvel team up to try not to die. We learned a little bit more about Ms. Marvel's powers also, which was a lot of fun. And I think Wolverine was more in character in this book than any book I've read in a couple of years, honestly. Because Wolverine's always been this softie for kids like Ms. Marvel, Kitty Pryde, Jubilee, young girls who have potential and have spunk. I think that's the best way to put it. Wolverine's always been a fatherly figure to those characters. And now he's just a fatherly figure to everybody. He likes everybody, and Wolverine was never like that. The cover depicts that. He's not a happy-go-lucky guy. So to see this, it just felt like old school Wolverine, that he doesn't like everybody, but he loved Ms. Marvel's spunk, and it just made sense to me. Also, again, the interaction between these two characters, the fangirling of Ms. Marvel, was just so much fun. The artwork worked really well for the series, and I like the ending, too, which is that the Inhumans are going to try to contact Ms. Marvel, but in their own way. So, seeing that they're slowly bringing in the Inhumans and making her learn a little bit about herself intrigues me. I like that they're not like, here you go, you're Inhuman. Okay, what's next, you know? So I like that they're slowly doing that. I think the pacing's great for the series. I had so much fun with this issue. I gotta give it 4.5 stars. Really fun issue. This is totally my pick of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic and their own situations. And tell me in the comments below, what was your pick of the week? What was your worst pick of the week? And everything in between. Talk about the comics this week you enjoyed or didn't enjoy. So hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, I'll have Comic Uno episode 62 next week. And this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline. And I will see you guys later. Bye.